when they shouldn't exist in the first place. There should be no political class. There should be no ruling class. What makes them different than us? Why do they get to not work every day, but we have to? What is the difference? What is the difference? The family they were born into? Fat shit. Fat shit. I don't give a fudge. I don't give a fudge what family you were born into. You got to work like everybody else. There is no owning class. There is no I don't have to do work. That don't exist in my world, and it shouldn't exist in this one. F you. If I got to work, so do you too. Period. Buddy? Hello, 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 and welcome back to Bree Speaks podcast. I am your host, Bree Speaks, who created the 7 Narcissistic Social Hierarchies of Control. The 7 Narcissistic Social Hierarchies of Control are patriarchy, capitalism, corporatism, racism, ableism, speciesism, and religion. Those are the 7 narcissistic social hierarchies of control that control all of our minds, that take over. And when I say narcissism here, I'm not talking about narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. I am talking about narcissism as a program, as a framework, as an intelligence, as a set of behaviors that any entity can exhibit. And when I say entity, I mean any. I mean, it could be a person. It could be a business. It could be a government. It could be a group of people. It could be, I don't know. Really, those are the things I can think about. An economic system such as capitalism, narcissistic AF. All of the characteristics that you find under NPD can be attributed to any entity. So anyways, we are here to dismantle all of those, to show everyone the truth of the world, to wake everyone up from the narcissistic slumber, the narcissistic programming, to help everyone live happier, freer, unlimited lives and end all suffering. Once you wake up from narcissistic programming, not to say you will never suffer again, because some suffering is inevitable, but we can end all unnecessary suffering. All the suffering happening on planet Earth today is due to some sort of narcissist or narcissism or narcissistic entity creating a bunch of unnecessary suffering. But if we dismantle all narcissistic entities, we'll just be left with people who can live their lives however they want to live their lives. And hopefully that's happily and with love. Heart. Okay, so what are we talking about today, Bree? Bree Speaks. Bree, we are going back into capitalism because I've got more to say, and especially as it pertains to what's happening right now in our world with the government and how the government is squeezing out the middle class / the poor class. Like, it is like, y'all, do y'all see? Okay, everyone sees what's happening, but no one's going to look at it. I feel like the way that I'm going to look at it, and here's how I see what's happening. I see all of these like hundreds of retail stores being closed down. I see, all of these prices for essential goods like food and water going up. I see the prices of housing going up. I see people getting loans that they're not qualified for. I see older people who own their homes getting foreclosed on because they can't pay their new very high property taxes, but who gets those foreclosed homes. I see the working class not having their wages risen, even though inflation is out of the roof. I see the United States government saying that inflation is only 3% and unemployment is only 4%, but everyone can pull out a receipt from between now and 2010 and see that everything has gone up like 100, literally double. Literally everything from 10 years ago has doubled. Inflation is 100%, and they keep on putting this 3% inflation in our faces like we're stupid or we're dumb. So I see the government lying out of their two cracks where they meet. And I see it all happening on purpose. I see all the executives closing their stores, not because they don't feel like they'll have revenue in a few years, or not because like they're not getting good revenue, because they know that no one will be able to afford to shop at their stores by next year. They know it. It is not they haven't been performing well, so we're shutting down because we can't afford to run them anymore. No, they will run a store until if a store is not doing well, private equity will come and buy it, sweep it up, and at least then sell it for parts. But the fact that not even private equity is coming to scoop up these retail stores and they're going under is a combination of two things. One, the birth rate is going down, so it's just like less people are going to be in this country. But no, not in the U.S. Well, yes, in the U.S. I was going to say less people overall, but not in the U.S. because for every person we're not birthing, the immigrants come in and replace the population rate. But immigrants immigrants are not coming anymore. Everyone else is waking up and starting to be like, America, it's not a good idea. So the population will start decreasing because people are going to stop coming here. And we're not having children because we are unhappy and don't have enough resources to go around. And any biological species that doesn't have enough food or resources is going to stop um, reproducing. That's how biology, ecology works. So yeah, it's not gonna be enough people. It's not enough people and the people that are here are going to be poor. And so you know what else I see? I also see while the prices of even just property taxes are going up, making our elderly be homeless, and the prices of houses going up so that people can't move, people are stuck where they are, or people are stuck in their jobs, people are enslaved. I also see homelessness going up, but I also see homelessness being criminalized. And while at the same time our health insurance is going up, like all of the essential goods that people gas, right, cars, everything is doubling in price. Like they keep saying, like, these inflation things that the government is putting out, it sounds from we are in the depression. The depression is now. The depression is happening. It's been happening. They keep trying to say we're not in a recession. We are. 1933 is when the Great Depression started. Back then. That is now. The Great Depression is about to start. Back then they had they called them Hoovervilles because Hoover was the president, and so people were like living in little shanty towns, like just makeshift towns and stuff, because no one had money, no one had jobs. Everyone was poor. Like little kids were outside playing in dirt and eating dirt in the street because like everyone was poor. Octavia E. Butler, Parable of the Sower, which is, I'm rereading it for the third time. Octavia E. Butler, Parable of the Sower, that book that was predicted to happen in 2025, 2026, and it's 2025, 2026. What's happening in that book? She was a smidge. She's probably like a year and a half early, maybe not really even then, because the book, I believe it goes to like 2030 or something like that. So by the end of her book, if you want to know the future, go read her book. That's what's going to happen. She talked about corporate towns, which is when a corporation buys up a town and everyone in the town works for that corporation. We've already got that, really. But I was just on a cruise, and I went to Celebration Keys, which is the town that Carnival, the cruise ship, purchased in the Bahamas. And everyone on the island. They bought an island and they named it Celebration Keys. It was just, yeah, as a highly sensitive person, as an energy reader, the energy of that island was like colonization, darkness, and depression with Disneyland slapped on top. It was like I could feel all the natives who lived there, who were working there. They were just like, this is the job. This is the job. They own the town. This is the jobs that they give us. They don't look like they were paid. Well, I don't know how much they're paid, but it's just like you could feel they weren't happy to be there. Even if they were being paid the best they were being paid, and I know they're not being paid well. You could just feel that they just didn't like. They're just there to get paid and go home. Because they have to be there. And I'm just like, I was on a vacation, and I didn't know what Celebration Keys was until I got there, and I realized and they told us this is one of, I think, 2 or 3 islands purchased by Carnival. So we have company towns, and people are on them, and they're working these jobs that the company makes them work because they own the town, and they're not happy. They're not happy. And so in Parable of the Sower, there are company towns. So that's where we're headed. Amazon already owns, y'all, between Amazon, Walmart, it's going to be just a bunch of corporations. They're going to own the towns, and we're going to be paying for work, paying for labor, like paying to work. Like they're going to be paying us for housing, because we're not going to be able to afford housing. We're going to be renting everything. We're going to be subscribed to life. We're going to be subscribed to life, and we have to pay the owning class to live. That's what it's going to be. Like that's where we're headed. I don't understand why no one else can see that. Me and Octavia, we both see it. I'm going to put in some of my videos. Yes, because people, I feel like people, they just, they don't believe seers whenever seers say something. And it's like, and again, it's not even seers, it's pattern recognition. I know how narcissism works. I know how it works as an intelligence. I know that it does not stop until the victim either wakes up, realizes this is awful, and then leaves. And even then, it's still a fight, because that's when the narcissistic collapse happens, and that's when you're most likely to be unalived, is when you're leaving your abuser. Because that narcissistic rage is crazy. When they feel like they find out they can't control you anymore, they become very evil. So either you wake up and you leave, or you don't wake up and you leave, and you are used and you are abused until you are nothing but a shell of yourself. Like you keep giving and you keep hoping they change. You keep asking for them to change. You keep telling them, this is hurting me, this is paining me. Like, no, they must not know what's happening. This must be a mistake. They can't be on purpose. No, they're not evil. It's just like they just don't understand what's happening. They can change. They're gonna be a different person. You just keep believing. And instead of accepting the the fucking reality for what it is, that this is an evil, awful, narcissistic demon of a human being who is here to do nothing but take from you and watch you be destroyed, instead of accepting that as the reality of what it is, people will stay and hang on and hope for dear life that things become different until they are literally unalive. That is like, or they unalive themselves, or so something terrible happens until they can no longer be a useful carcass of a body for that narcissist to take from. That is the narcissist will either discard them because they're of no good use anymore and they found a new supply, or you will discard yourself because you no longer want to be here because the narcissist is taking everything out of you. Or you become a narcissist yourself. You become an evil, awful bitch of a human being who does nothing but serve themselves. Like, you become the narcissist yourself. You become a narcissist and you become evil to everyone else. So those are your options when you're leaving a narcissist. And so the United States government is a narcissistic entity, and so I know where this is going. I know where this is not going to stop. It's not going to change. Trump is not going to be any different. He's not going to wake up one day and be like, oh my God, I cannot believe I raped and killed and dismembered and ate all those people. And I hurt all those people. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that over my 60, 70, 80 years of life, however old that man is, I have been hurting all these people all this time. And I just didn't know it. And I'll never do that. I've turned a little and I'll never do that again. I'm so sorry. I'll do everything good from now on. The end. Like, that's never. That is never in a million bajillion trillion years ever gonna happen. And so that's not gonna happen. And so they're just going to keep doing the same thing until someone literally physically removes them from power. Until someone physically removes them from power, be it us or God, they're going to push this until the very end. They are going to get to the point, which is where we're going, which is where this video is coming from, to the point where it is nothing but the owning class, that 1% and that elite, and everyone else is enslaved. You'll have a small merchant class who serves the elite. There's a tiny little buffer of a merchant class, or the dukes and it's like, we're just going back to the kings and queens. It'll be the kings and queens. They're gonna be the kings and queens, and then you'll have like the royal class, and then you're gonna have mostly servants and peasants. With a little merchant class in the middle who sells stuff every once in a while. Like, that's it. Like, that's where we're going. Like, there's no other destination unless the collective consciousness wakes up and changes and says, I don't want to live in a hierarchical construction. Okay, so what else? What's going on with this squeeze? So if you feel like the economy is designed, if you're feeling like, because as you look across all this stuff, all the squeezes that are happening between groceries, transportation, housing, like no jobs and jobs that are paying low, if you're feeling squeezed, it is not an accident. They know what's happening, and not only do they know, they are causing it, they are enforcing it, they are perpetuating it. This is what the narcissist does. If you are at the top of a narcissistic structure and you are the person in power and you want to keep your power, this is what you're going to do. You're going to take the power, because, like, again, if you watch my video on corporates and corporations and how they're just going to keep growing, they're going to get, because when you're in a narcissistic environment, as in, like, the United States government is a hierarchical government. It has levels and tiers, all the way up into the president being the highest tier. So that's a hierarchy. The government is it's a power force for the economy, which is capitalism, which is a narcissistic structure. So the people who have the most money. So when the people with the most money in the capitalist narcissistic pillar meet the people with the most power in the corporate narcissistic structure, because that's really what the government is a corporate structure over top of, and it regulates the businesses, but it is the biggest business itself. It's the biggest employer. It has the biggest spender, the biggest, like, it's like the United States government is the biggest corporate structure there is. So when you meet the biggest corporate structure power meets the biggest wealth money power, meets the biggest race meets the biggest race power, and they put Christianity right on top of that, and it's all men, patriarchy right on top of that, right? And they're all humans, of course, so you put your species right on top of that. You've created the biggest, nastiest, narcissistic conglomerate that there is. And then people are wondering, oh my God, well, how did this come to be? And I'm just sitting here like, are we all living in the same reality? There's a problem is, no, we're not living in the same reality. So if you feel like you are being squeezed right now, you're not crazy, and it's not just inflation. This is literally a systemic dismantling of the middle class. It is systemic, y'all. This is not, I just people think it's like not necessarily an accident, but like it's unplanned, uncalculated, inevitable. Like this is a mistake, this is a misstep, like this is just a series of bad decisions, a series of uneducated decisions. This is a series of very intentional, well-mapped, well-known, understood decisions and actions that are happening right now. They are literally gaslighting the world to say, oh no, this is not what's happening. Look over here, look over there. They know everything. This is the United States government. Even if the people who are running the government are the people who are big dumb goofballs, the people who are driving this entire system, the people who wrote the, like the heritages, the SAVE Acts, right, where they're trying to get rid of women's ability to. Oh, I feel like I look like Trump. The people, but the SAVE Act that has so that women are not allowed to vote because if your last name is not the same as your passport or your birth certificate or something like that. If you don't have a passport, which most Americans don't, then you have to use your ID, and if your ID doesn't match your birth certificate, then you're not allowed to vote, and that's most women who change their last name. That's crazy. So they got that. They just dismantled the motherfucking Voting Rights Act, y'all. They just dismantled the Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act. So basically, the last thing that was standing in between racism and segregation and Black people having human rights, it was basically that Voting Rights Act gone. Even though I'm like, part of me is like, as someone who understands that where there's a hierarchy, there will be exploitation. I'm like, the fact that, again, if you looked at my corporate video, the fact that we have representatives in government is a hierarchy. And so there's always going to be corrupt representatives. There's a 110,000% chance that if we have representatives, some of those representatives are going to be corrupt. It's a 1,000% chance it's going to happen. But we keep saying, yeah, give me a new representative. Oh my I'm sorry. Y'all, I be sitting outside the Matrix and I be looking into the Matrix and I just be like, whoa. It is crazy in there. It's crazy in there. Like, all of it, technically it affects me, but it affects me as someone outside the Matrix in a very different way. It's just in a different way. It's just like, because I'm an observer. Once you become an observer of all instead of being in it, like, you're like, I'm not in it. It's just, I'm watching a movie. I'm watching the movie that is Earth. I'm watching the movie that is Earth. It's because it's like, I'm just here to spread my message, to tell people what's what. I'm having a glass of wine today. I usually do water because I shouldn't be drinking, but I just felt like it. And so whatever I feel like doing, I'm gonna do. Everything in moderation, including moderation. This is juice, according to YouTube. So anyways, where there is hierarchy, there's going to be corruption. So none of this stuff, nothing that's happening in the world for me is surprising. Oh, I was saying earlier, I'm gonna put in some videos from my TikTok from like a year or.
You said, who's next? Middle class YT people are next. Oh, you're already seeing it. But when rich people own everything, okay, first of all, when rich people have money, what do they want to do? They want to grow their wealth. That's what everybody wants to do, right? We all want to grow our wealth. And how do you grow your wealth? Is by putting your liquid cash into an asset. An asset is something that generates revenue, generates money. Corporations own all of America. That's first of all. Anything you buy is usually from some large corporation. That large corporation is owned by, if you go all the way up the chain between all of the businesses and then the holding companies and then the shareholders, those people, the shareholders at the top, rich people. So they own all the companies. They own all the stocks for all the companies. They own a ton of the land. They own the gold. Anything that generates money, they own it already. The only thing that the rich doesn't own are middle class homes, and we see that already with the BlackRocks, with all the other private investment companies that own trillions of dollars. These people, they are buying houses, your neighbors' houses, and every time, as someone who tried to buy a house post 2020, I put in all my life savings trying to put on this down payment, but I was outbid again and again by an all cash buyer. And if you're selling your house, of course you're going to go with the all cash option versus someone who's trying to buy with a loan. And so not only were these people paying fully cash offers, they're paying cash offers over the price of the house. And you know what that does? That increases the prices of the houses. And so me, as a regular middle class person trying to buy a house, I cannot afford to compete with BlackRock, the largest private equity firm in all of America. But why is BlackRock buying single family homes? Because they don't have anything else to buy. They need to keep growing their assets. This is a capitalist country. Everyone wants to grow. And when you when you go to a desert island, this is what they teach you in capitalism school. When you go to a desert island, you get exponential returns on your rates because you grow a flower and that flower turns into a fruit. And then now you have this whole fruit tree, and now you can plant more fruit, and all those fruit trees will grow. And you have food over here. It's just like you have all this time and space to grow and to get more. But what happens when the island is full? What happens when all of the land is taken? You start eating into the ocean. I don't know. You don't know what you do. You keep growing literally until you can't grow anymore. So they're buying all the houses, and now middle class people can't afford to buy houses, and the people who have houses are like, oh, look at me, my house has all this money, it's all this equity, all this value. It's not worth anything if you don't sell that house. The only way that you're going to make money on all of that equity that your house has now is if you have another property that you can live. Unless you want to be homeless with $1 million in your hand, you're going to sell the house to buy another house, and you can't buy a better house because the better house is going to cost even more money. So everyone who has houses, they're like, oh my God, I'm so happy I'm a homeowner. It's like, okay, but if you die and your child can't afford to pay those taxes on that house and keep that house, now your children are homeless. Now your grandchildren are homeless, or renting out of apartment buildings, and then the apartments, they're bought by private equity firms too. And if they need more money, they're going to start raising those property rates and raising your apartment, your rent. So your rent's going to go up, and because they need to grow. So it's like, who's next? Next in line is lower middle class, right? And then our doctors and our lawyers, our upper middle class, you guys are going to be after that. You guys got the next biggest houses, the next nice houses. And once all the lower middle class is eaten up, they got to go somewhere. So doctors, lawyers, you guys are next. And then after that, who knows? Then by that time, it will literally be most of America, 90% of America will be the peasants, and then the rest of the America will be the kings, the queens, and then their dukes and their duchesses. Like, that's where we're going back to. We're going back to 10% of the elite own everything, and then everyone else is peasants and servants down here at the bottom. Like Oliver Twist, please, sir, can I have some more? Like literally begging for scraps so that they fall off of their table. That's where we're going. That's who's next. So again, everyone's like, oh, it won't be me. Oh, it's not going to affect me. Like, you just wait. Oh, and of course, so what do we do about that? Tax the rich, tax the wealth. If they own property in America, it should be taxed. If they own businesses in America, it should be taxed. We have to get money out of the hands of the rich and put it back into the hands of the people. I wouldn't even say into the government, because if you give all the money to the government, guess who owns the government and runs the government? Rich people. So we have to figure out a way to get the money from the rich into the government and then into the hands of the regular working people, so that we can buy houses, so that we can own assets, so that we can have stocks. We need to own our own stuff, our own resources, because right now we are running out of resources, and they're making the prices of all of the resources, food, energy, houses, everything that we need to live, they're making the prices go up. So we have to, I see all the riots, not the riots, all the protests, I see Bernie, I see AOC, we're doing what we can, but just do not lose sight of the vision. Tax the rich. The problem is wealth inequality. It is not the black people. It is not immigration. It is not trans people. It is not any of the people that they want you to think it is. It is the rich, and they are trying to distract you with all of these other problems and issues, and we need to go after them and all of their money, and specifically their assets, because the assets are what we need as a human community race in order to survive. So.
Ago, where I literally said, after the PE firms have purchased all of the businesses, there's nothing else for them to buy other than the houses, and they're already starting the houses, and then they're going to start with they're always going to start with the lowest class, because that's like the lower class, the lowest rung of any of my narcissistic hierarchies are going to be the test subjects. They're going to be because this is where we can get away with the most harm, because we have the most power and they have the least power, so we can get away with the most harm here. So we're always going to start at the bottom rung as our test subject. So it's always going to be black people that are going to be tested on to see how they react to stuff. It's always going to be wildflowers or flora or animals that people don't think about, people don't care about, or people think are just pests, or people think are pests. Just anything. If the unemployed, the homeless, right? Those people over there, we're going to do tests on them, because no one pays pays attention to the people in the bottom rung of the hierarchy, because that's what the hierarchy has told everyone to do. Look away from the bottom rung. Don't look at these people, the bottom of society, the lower social ranks. Don't even pay attention. They don't even exist. They shouldn't even exist. Matter of fact, they're where they are because that's where they deserve to be, because they shouldn't even exist. So they're lucky they even got a spot down there. That's what the narcissist tells everyone in the higher rungs, so the people in the higher rungs don't pay attention. So anyway, a year ago, I put a video out saying that they're going to come for the housing of the middle class. I literally was like, you doctors, you lawyers, like people who are making a lot of income. Y'all got your nice houses. You just watch. They're coming for y'all next. And all these houses that are getting foreclosed on, that's what I was saying earlier. Who you think buying them? Who is swooping in and sucking up all them houses? It ain't me and you. And so that's that. And then all these retail stores are closing. It was like all the Party Cities closing. It was like, how many Macy's are closing? Are Macy's closing? Like I said, a bunch of Dollar Generals are closing. All of the low budget, like affordable / lower class and lower middle class stores closing. Spirit Airlines, the budget friendly travel, closing. Y'all think? And then so a year ago, I also made a video that said, there are more private equity funds than there are McDonald's, and if no one is paying attention to that, that is, you're crazy, because that is an indicator of the time
that there are more private equity firms in America than McDonald's. Do you know what that means? That means there is more money being invested. Okay, first of all, do you know what a private equity firm is? Let's just start there. It is a firm that collects assets, that accumulates wealth for rich people. It buys things. It buys up your favorite Toys R Us, your favorite Michaels, your favorite stores for consumers. It extracts all the profit that it can. It takes out loans on those things, leaves the loan on them, takes all the money, forecloses the business, bankrupts the business, and rolls out, takes all the money, and leaves the rest for scraps for the next highest bidder if they want it. So that's what private equity does. It steals money from the poor. It steals money from businesses, and then it runs away. Or it buys up the houses so that we can't afford houses because they're dropping double what a house is worth, and so now the value of the house has gone up. But it's just because someone who's super uber rich, like a private equity firm, bought your house, and now your house is worth so much, but now a regular person can't buy a house. So that's what private equity firm is. A service for the rich. It is a service for the rich. Just think of it as that. There are now more of those than there are McDonald's. All right, walk with me. This is what that means. That means more money is going into services to accumulate wealth, money, and assets for the rich than there are cheap fast food restaurants that are made for the common consumer. There used to be McDonald's everywhere. There are less McDonald's. They're private. Y'all, I'm articulating this poorly. It's the same as... There's always going to be more businesses that pop up when there is a higher market, there's a higher demand. So there was never supposed to be more Gucci's, more Louis Vuittons, more I don't know what other red bottom. Like, I'm not a luxury person, so I don't know the big more Lamborghini stores. Like, there's always going to be a small amount of luxury stores because there's always going to be a small amount of luxury buyers. But the luxury buyers are growing. It's more and more millionaires and billionaires. But guess what? In the capitalist system, that also means there's more and more poor. There's more and more zero. There's more and more people who can't afford anything. The money is being extracted to the ultra wealthy. So now it's more people who need more help managing all of their shit tons of money. And there are less people who can afford McDonald's. Y'all, there are less people who can afford McDonald's than there are people who need to access to a private equity firm. There's so much cash that millionaires and billionaires are creating private equity firms, which are firms that just extract more wealth, more money from the rest of the population than there are McDonald's, which is providing a service to the common consumer. The world is coming to an end. No, I don't want to say that. I don't want us to be seen nihilistic, but I want people to understand that there are more services being created to cater to the rich because there are more rich people. And people have been saying, like, oh, more and more millionaires are made every day. Yeah, but people aren't talking about more and more poor people made every day. Like, this is capitalism. This is a zero-sum game. In capitalism, if there's $100 and one person has $99, that means everybody else got $1 to share. Like, this is what capitalism. This isn't a communist society. This isn't $100. It's just going to be split evenly among everybody. If the whole society makes $200, now $200 is going to be split evenly among everybody, and everyone rises together. No, If $100 is in this society, if someone figures out the best way to steal, kill, and cheat to get that $100 onto themselves, they get it, and that means everyone else is left with nothing. So if there are now more private equity firms than there are McDonald's. I don't even like McDonald's. McDonald's is terrible, but it is a marker of the times that there are now more private equity firms than there are McDonald's. You should be mad and afraid.
Times. I put it in here, but I said that when there is more people investing money and energy into things that the upperest class can invest in more than people are spending time and energy into making things that the lower classes can use or purchase from, then you have a problem. But that means that it is more, and I, as someone who has been a business owner on more than one occasion now at this point, you know that your best customers or clients are people who will pay you a lot of money for very little effort. And the people who are those people, let's look at those people. Those people are going to be people who have a lot of money and don't really care if they waste it. People who don't have a lot of money, they care a lot if they waste it, so they're penny pinching. They are looking at every dime, every cent, and they're looking at the value that they got from that cent, and they're questioning the value that they got. And if they don't like what they got, they're going to come to you and they're going to try to get their money back. They're going to say, this was a waste of my time. They're going to complain. Like as someone who has sold things before, broke people are the worst customers. They're the worst customers because they are micromanaging everything. They care about everything, and they have very high standards for usually the customers who are paying me the least amount of money. But then I'll have my very high ticket clients, my clients who have tons of money to blow, getting it in, making it like them customers. You're just like, yeah, I'm gonna charge you $100,000 for this thing, and they're like, okay, and you're just like, I was shooting my shot. That was a way overestimate of really what I wanted. It was just like, I hope they say yes, but I expect them to say no and negotiate me down, but then they don't. You're just like, so it's the same thing as I was talking about in my other video when you go to Ghana, and the inflation prices are going. Listen, y'all, it's all freaking connected. In Ghana, when I went over there, and the locals are complaining that prices are going higher because Black Americans are going over there and they're buying things. And then I told you, negotiation is the culture over there. That's the norm. But Black people are going over there, and the Ghanaian are selling people, and they'll go out and they'll say this will be 100 CDs, and that's their high price, and they expect you to negotiate down. And Black people are like, okay, sounds good, here you go. And then the people, the vendors are like, huh, well then, I will just keep charging 100 CDs. And then when people who are of Ghanaian descent come and then they don't want to pay 100 CDs, they're like, you know what? I'm not going to sell it to you because I know I got an American coming and they're going to pay 100 CDs for this. So I'm going to hold on to it until I get my high ticket client. Being high ticket clients cause inflation. People who have a lot of money cause inflation, because if you are a business, you are going to flock to the people with money because they are easy money. You want easy money. That is the law of the conservation of energy, which is what I said in my previous video. You are going to always, as a human, as a plant, as an animal, as a rock, as a ocean, no matter what you are, whatever you're doing, even literally as an inanimate object, whatever amount of energy it takes to create the wave that is being created, it will be the very least amount of energy that it takes to create that wave. Nothing on planet Earth wastes energy. It will always use the least amount of energy possible to get the highest yield possible. That's capitalism too. I'm going to lower my prices. I'm going to raise my prices as high as I can so that I can get as much money as I can from my clients or my customers for as little energy export, as little cost as it costs me. I will lower the quality of the product if they'll still pay for it. I will lower the cost of staffing by firing people if I can still get the same amount of products created with the people that I have left, even if they are overworked and tired and burnt out. I'm just like, all of these things, it's all the same. And again, my biggest problem is we create systems based on what we hope humanity will be and not based on what humanity actually is, which is an energy source who wants to do exactly what it's doing and is doing exactly what it's doing. But we've created systems on top to perpetuate and hyperinflate the worst of the worst instead of mitigating it. Who am I? But a random Black woman on the internet. That's all. Who knows nothing, who feels nothing, who sees nothing, who understands nothing. That is all. Just the patterns and the energies and the economies around me, the societies around me, whatever. All right. So, as we were saying, I don't know if I ever finished. Of course, I never finished. But So I was saying there are more private equity funds than McDonald's, and that is a indicator that there are more businesses who are catered toward the rich than there are the very rich, because these are PE funds, which are like compilations of. It's like, think of it as a firm, like basically a store. Like, think of a PE firm as a place where rich people go in, leave all their money, leave, and then when they check their bank account, their money has grown. So that is their whole business model of a PE firm, is to make rich people's money grow. And so there are now more rich people money grow businesses than there are feed poor people. That's literally what it is. There are more rich people grow money businesses than there are feed the poor. Literally, when there are more PE firms than there are McDonald's, that is what that means. And so we're sitting here wondering why the world is going to hell. And I'm just like, because everything is being catered towards the rich. Everything when it comes to like, and I told you from my corporate video before, because the people who are in power are in charge of mitigating the harm of power. It's like every decision that is going to be made is going to be in favor of the people in power, and that's not going to include the people who are not in power. Like, we are the people not in power, and instead of taking the power away from the people who are in power, who are harming us with the power that they have, and bringing them back down to earth, we just keep asking them to stop hurting us when they shouldn't exist in the first place. There should be no political class. There should be no ruling class. What makes them different than us? Why do they get to not work every day, but we have to? What is the difference? What is the difference? The family they were born into? Fat shit. Fat shit. I don't give a fudge. I don't give a fudge what family you were born into. You got to work like everybody else. There is no owning class. There is no I don't have to do work. That don't exist in my world, and it shouldn't exist in this one. Because it doesn't make any sense, because it creates a hierarchy of people who then will exploit everyone else. F you. If I gotta work, so do you too. Period. Buddy? Because these people, they're not smarter than us. They're dumb. And in fact, they're so dumb because they put their ego, their need to be better than other people, literally above common sense. We could have the cure for cancer right now, but we don't have it because rich people want to make money. That's stupid. That's dumb, right? Cancer is caused by sugar. Please take it from me. That's all. If you don't want cancer, stop eating so much sugar. That's it. All right. Anyways, sugar includes breads, carbohydrates. Anyways, that's it. I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not a lawyer, and so if you don't eat sugar and you get cancer, that's not my fault. But if you don't eat sugar and you get cancer, I'd be surprised. I'd be shook. I'd be shocked. I'd be shooketh. It'd be like, like you'd probably be a white person with a melanoma or something. It might be like sun cancer or something. You're not gonna get like internal cancer unless you got a lot of stress. If you got a lot of stress and sugar in your diet, you're probably gonna get cancer. If you got just a lot of stress, it might be cancer, or it might be something else. You're gonna have some sort of physical ailment. But stress and sugar, cancer. That's neither here nor there. But so I guess a lot of people are probably asking, what is the benefit of stagnant wages? What is the benefit of rich people, of essentially not having a middle class? Because that's what's going to happen. Again, it's going to be the kings and queens and it's going to be the peasants and the serfs with a teeny tiny little merchant class in the middle. So why is that beneficial to the owning class, to the people who want to be kings and queens? Why would they criminalize homelessness instead of raising the minimum wage? Or bringing down housing prices? Why would they, make it home? Like, why? I feel like people are just, again, they're not going to want to hear this because it's the boring answer. It's the evil answer. It's the no way answer. But it is for control. It's for all of this, y'all. When you look at every single thing that the current administration is doing, and or the narcissist in your life is doing, anything that they're doing, you can narrow it down to they want control and domination. And that is because the spirit realm is first, because their within is insecure, and they're insecure because they're disconnected from spirit. You're going to be insecure if you're disconnected from your roots. If you don't know where you came from or what you stand for, you are going to be insecure. And so because narcissists and narcissistic people are disconnected from their feminine, their source, they are insecure, and because they're insecure, they want to control everything because they don't feel, because they like, when you don't feel secure, you're going to want to, when you're anxious, you're highly anxious person, you're going to want to control more, because your anxiety is fear of the future. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. And so that manifests into, I want to control everything. And so then I can control the future. Then I will know what's going to happen because I control everything. And so when you're insecure, you're going to want control. And so narcissism is a deep insecurity coming from literally not being disconnected from source and spirit, and so they want to control absolutely everything in the physical because they have no connection to the spiritual. That's and I guess I don't know if that's a boring answer, and it's like, but it's just like they want to rule the world so they can control everything. Once they control everything, they think that will make them secure, but it's like, one, they're ruling through fear at this point. They're not ruling through, like love. People aren't following them because they love them, they care about them, they desire to be just like them. People are following them because if they don't, there are going to be awful consequences. Hello, religion. That's why people are religious, because they fear being damned to hell. But anyways, yeah, so it's like all like people if everyone starts thinking about why is the government as a whole doing these awful evil things, like that is why. Like there's no other there's no it's nothing else. It's just what is not strategic, is not for the economy, is not half of the time. Sometimes it's for their own personal benefit because they want more money, but that is because more money literally means more control, more power, higher in their classism hierarchy. It means they have more, they feel like they are higher above, which makes them feel more secure. Like that's what it is. So yeah, sure, you can say it's for more money for their own individual selves, but at the end of the day, it's still to fill or fuel or fill. I'm gonna say fill, like fill up a cup, fill their deep-seated insecurity. And so yeah, I just wish everyone would stop looking for other answers as to, oh, why is Trump doing this, or why, like, it's just like, I don't care what the middleman is between why is he doing this and then this is what's happening. It could be, I don't care what that middle looks like. The why is he doing this is going to end up being because he's insecure, because he wants control, because he wants domination, because he wants to feel like he's higher than someone else. Like that is why he and everyone who follows him are all narcissists. Anyone who follows a narcissist is also a narcissist themselves. Not like, unless they're like temporarily under the spell. But if they are a narcissist, like if they before they met them they were a narcissist and then they met them and then they anyways, anyone who follows a narcissist like Trump is a narcissist themselves, and so it's the same thing for them. They are doing whatever he says because it gives them proximity to power or more control or more capabilities to dominate, or like it benefits the narcissist in the same narcissistic vein. And so that's why all the narcissists have like conglomerated, and that's why like this is the same thing is why corporations always merge. It's like when like individual narcissists will get together which is the same thing, which is why we the collective should do the same thing, is get together. It's like whenever you get any large amounts of energy together, you're going to be able to shake and bake more, you're going to be able to control more, you're going to be able to do more, you're going to be able to make a bigger impact. And so all narcissists will conglomerate together because they all have the same goals of domination. And if they are all working together, they're all going to each individually be gaining more power. And so the narcissistic structure or entity is going to gain more power. Will it always collapse? It will, because each one of them who are in the narcissistic structure or entity is going to be trying to clamber to the top for themselves, because they're all self-centered evil people and don't care about the collective of the narcissistic entity. They just care about their own individual. But as we can see, caring about your individual self and all of y'all coming up with the same plan, even though it's for your own selfish gain, but it's all your selfish gain comes together into a big narcissistic evil entity plan. Even if if that, this is like, I'm trying to say, like, you should do things for the collective always, in my personal opinion. But even if you're doing stuff for yourself, it can come out into even being selfish it can come out into a large collective energy of power, even if those powers are coming from individuals. So, like, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for me. But if everyone's doing it for me and they're moving in the same direction, it'll come out into this large magic spell, this large force of energy, this large direction of change. And that's what's happening with the Trump administration right now. It's like all the narcissists are like, they're going into a bunch of little transformers into one big transformer. And we need to do the exact same thing, but they keep us divided by keeping us in our limited, by keeping us thinking that we are not the same, by keeping us thinking that we don't have the same interests, when we as a collective, as life, anyone who has life force energy going through them, genuinely have the same, like, we have the same interests. We all have the same interests of life, of love, of good experiences, of community, of family, of not suffering, of sustainability, of just enjoying the life that we live. We all, like, from Asia to North America to South America to Africa to Australia to they call it the Middle East, but they said they're not calling it the Middle East anymore from what I heard. It's called like Southwest Swassa, Southwest Asian, South Asia, something SWAS. Anyways, there's a new acronym that's not Middle East because it is Southwest. It is Southwest Asia. The Middle East is Southwest Asia. Like Pakistan, it is Southwest Asia. It is Southwest Asia. Anyways, but yeah, but even in Southwest Asia, there is still the same wants of humanity. Man, this whole time, this has been crooked and no one told me. That's crazy. Still a little crooked. Better. So what is their end goal, you asked? It is to be in company towns. It is for them to play with us like they're toys, to be like, oh yeah, this is my company town. I'm gonna flood my company town tomorrow because I want to start over. I want new people. Or like, oh, I want to see them suffer. They will do whatever they want. They will use humanity as their playthings once they have the power to do so. And they'll just like pretend to like one another and be impressed by one another as they enact evil and harm. And so then they'll see who can enact the most evil and harm because it's just like, oh, they have the power to do so. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to play games with our lives for their entertainment. And we will have no capability of doing anything about it. Like, that's where we're going if we don't stop them now. But, who am I? But a random black woman on the internet. Yeah, that is all. That's all I'm gonna say. I just want everyone to know this is not an accident. It's not that they didn't foresee this. It's not that they can't stop this. It's not that there's nothing no one can do. It's not that this is all an accident. It's just like, no, this is what they intended. This is what they wanted. And I'm telling you, as someone who has predicted the future more than once, what's going to happen if no other outside force, which means us, wakes up. Which I'm proud of. The man with the factory, all these factories that have been burning to a crisp mysteriously. What a shame. What a shame. So yeah, if you've heard about that one, there's this man who burned up a paper factory that he was working at, and as he burned it and washed all the paper, all the $500 million worth of paper burned, he said, all you had to do was pay me a livable wage. I was like, Tia, cause I think I recently heard that a pound of ground beef is now more than minimum wage. So you can work for over an hour and not be able to afford a pound of ground beef. That's where we're going, and that's what it was before, y'all. Before um Roosevelt came, I believe it was Roosevelt, and he put in all the New Deal and made everything so that we had social services. It used to be that food was 1/3 of people's budget. Like right now, 1/3 of our budget is supposed to be rent, and really now it's up to 50% is how much we're paying for rent or mortgage. But like it's supposed to be 30% of your budget or less is for housing. And back in the day, back before in the 1920s, they had a calculuses, and the calculator that they used was food. Food was 1/3 of their housing costs, and their household housing was like super cheap. But that was when everyone was poor and food was very expensive. And that is where we're going. We're going back to a place where everyone's poor, food is very expensive, and housing will be cheaper. But that's because we we won't be paying for housing. We will be working for room and board and a couple of dollars to eat. Like that's where we're going. We will be working for room and board. So we won't be paying for housing. Housing won't be an expense anymore because we will all be enslaved. We will be enslaved working, not, well, no offense, but y'all will be enslaved. I'm not going to be enslaved. I told everyone I'll die. I'll die first. I told everyone if I was on that boat on the way here in the Atlantic Ocean, I'd be in the Atlantic Ocean till this day. My old body, one of my human bodies is probably there right now. Because I was born to be free and no one can enslave me, and I would die first. I will go back home to the spirit world. Because here's the thing, I'm not afraid of the spirit world. I love the spirit world. Me and the spirit world hang out all the time. It's my favorite place, honestly, and I like being there. So I'm not suicidal government, because you know what they like to do. Did y'all hear about all the scientists that have been being passed away? Or like that man who discovered how to pull energy out the air through frequency? Like, it's just, this world is so evil. This world is so evil. The world could be so grand. The world could be so grand. We could have free water, free electricity, free food. We could have free housing. They're all very cheap and sustainable ways for it to be done. But everyone who finds these things out and talks about them gets unalived because the people in power do not want people without power to know that they could have much more power than they have currently, because then they will overthrow the government, which I've got a whole paragraph on that. But That's another episode. I'm also afraid to post that of why we don't need governments. We don't. If everyone was self-sustainable, we wouldn't need them, but I'll just leave that there for now. That is all. That is why inflation's happening. None of it's an accident. Learn how to live off the land, get you some solar power generators. I don't know if it's gonna be 1 year or 20 years, but I give it 5. If I pull down between now and 2030, 2031, we will have our own little Hoovervilles. We'll call them Trumpvilles or Trump Towers. We'll call them Trump Towers or Trump Hoods or something like that. But they will be a mockery of the state because they're gonna still like, not to say he's gonna get his 3rd term, but I have no faith personally in the larger white populace because, again, because they're so brainwashed that I just don't think they don't have the foresight. The more brainwashed you are, like you can't zoom out. Like every pillar of mind that you break out of, you raise yourself in consciousness, and when you raise yourself in consciousness, you literally you look at life from a higher perspective. You look at it from the spirit realm to the earthly realm, and nothing you can't. Yeah. So anyway, so white people, I don't think they are ready yet to wake up from the narcissistic programming that they have, because again, all 7 of my structures, they are under every single one of those structures. Like every single structure, pillar, narcissistic hierarchy that I have, like they're each their own individual, like they're all the same spell, and if you're under one spell, you're definitely more susceptible to going under the other spells. That's just how it works. Like once you got one, if you don't wake up and start pushing in the other direction, you'll snowball and then you'll become a white person. And so I think they're breaking down racism. I think the white women are breaking down patriarchy. I don't think they're breaking down Christianity just yet. I don't think they're ready to let that go. White people are not ready to let go of consumerism/capitalism. They're not ready to let that go. That needing to do energy, that masculine energy of doing, and not just being. They're not ready. Yeah, and I don't think they're ready to realize that we're not supposed to be enslaving animals either. And thus, they've got 4 of the 7 going for themselves, and white men have, I think, all of them. So anyways, yeah, it's going to be a while before white people wake up, and until then, they're going to keep harming and destroying the world. And until everyone else wakes up and either fights back, it's going to be a tough time. I'm leaving the United States because this is where it's going to be the worst and it's going to happen the most. But maybe I'll come back in I don't know. Maybe in 32 or 33, I think I'd come back for the reconstruction. I don't want to be here for the demise personally. Yeah, I don't really want to. I just don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it. Again, I barely want to be in the 3D period. I want to go home. So to be here, I don't like suffering. Again, I don't like suffering. I don't like a lot of pain. I'm too sensitive. I'm too delicate. I'm a delicate spirit walking around on this earth. I'm only halfway here anyways. I'm half spirit, half human. I'm a bridge. I'm a bridge. I don't like it. It's a terrible job. Would not recommend. Would not recommend being a bridge between the spirit world and the physical. And if you are, an empath like myself, and you feel all the feelings, you too will be looking to run as far as you can, as fast as you can from this demonic country. I can speak from I can speak from not America. Everything I know, I need to know. Well, I mean, I need to know more, but like everything I need to talk about what I need to talk about, I think I've got what I need to get. I don't think I need any more suffering to learn any more lessons. I mean, I do, but like, anyways, it won't be here. So I hope this was helpful in understanding how the world is coming, like the United States specifically, and the developed world in general, why it's coming to an end, why it's coming to its downfall. It is because it's not coming to its downfall for any old body. It's coming to its downfall for the collective of all of the Western states, and that is a coordinated and intentional effort by a select group of people. It is not an accident. It is not, oh, it's something it's just happening. Like, no, it's not happening. It's being made. It's not happening. It's unfolding the way it was intended to unfold. So, well, that's that. Good luck, everyone. No, I'm just gonna just break out of the matrix. Like, once you are tapped in with spirit, not to say that you will be okay with everything that's happening, but it's just like, it's also minuscule, mediocre, dumb, and it doesn't hurt as bad, and you get to enjoy the beauty and the good so much more. So just don't feel like the world is over. It's over for people who feel like the world is over, and if you don't feel like the world is over, it's not gonna be over. So that is all. I hope you learned something today or see something from a new perspective. That's all I ever want. It's just to show you don't have to take it or leave it, but I just want to have you look at things from a different perspective. So, and if you did and you enjoy this perspective, or you want to support this perspective or want other people to have this perspective, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and feel free to donate to my Cash App because I don't have a 9 to 5 job, nor do I want one. And so it's nice to have my friends on the internet sustain me because you can enslave me. And if you want to support not being enslaved, hey, Bree speaks too. Cash App. Or you can join my members only. Please do come over where I do my vlogs and we talk and we think deeply about the life that is. And I share my little nuggets and I ask questions about what I should do next on my personal life journey. Cause sometimes I do need help. Well, not help. I like different perspectives. Like that's my whole thing. I just like to see things from a different perspective. Cause like I know my perspective and I know I have several perspectives most of the time, but I'm just like, is there a perspective that I'm missing that I haven't looked at yet? Hmm. And then I'll try and get that. So that's that. And so if you want to join my members only, please do that. There's woke and woke AF are the 2 levels, and woke AF is where it's at. Or you can buy a PDF of my 7 narcissistic social hierarchies of control at breespeaks.co. That is my new website where you can get that. And I'll also be putting up other resources for understanding the world writ large. So yeah, just, come meet me over there and we'll hang out. Yeah. And so if you got all the way to the end, thank you for listening. Please do put an inverted triangle in the chat in the comment section. It represents the collective, it represents the feminine, it represents the womb, it represents dark creation, feminine energy, the before, the after. It represents the before the after, the in before the out, the void before the existence. It represents anti-hierarchical change, anti-hierarchy. It represents the collective. So please do put inverted triangles in the chat. And I love you. I love you so much. And the God in me loves the God in you. I hope you see the God in you. I hope you know the God in you. I hope you love the God in you, and hope you use it to uplift others, or just protect yourself. And that's good enough for me because we don't have to do all this unnecessary labor. No one's paying us. And I'm just here to I'm just here for good experiences. That's all I want. I just came down to the 3D to have a good time. This is supposed to be a party. This is supposed to be a party. This is supposed to be a playground. This is supposed to be a good time. And they are taking our good experiences away. And that's really my biggest issue. It's like we could all be having a good time, but these people are selfish and the problem is like that their good time comes from us having a bad time. Like that is the narcissist. The narcissist gets off on like everyone else suffering because they know that means they're on top and that like that fuels them and it's gross and it's nasty and it's yucky. And so yeah, they're trying to steal our good time away. And that's the only reason why I'm here is to tell everyone, don't let these people take your good time and don't let them take all of our good time and let's get rid of them so that we can have a good time. I'm just here for the party. I came to Earth to party and they're messing up the party. So anyways, that is all. Love you. I'll talk to you next time. Stay woke. Bye.